Well, I'm Chris Patterson.
And I'm Katie Cooley.
And we just bought a house from Steve with the Packer Group. This is the first house that I've bought outright on my own.
Every time that we went looking at houses, we did so when he was in town. So we just crammed a lot of house looking at in a weekend. We went and looked at 10 different houses with Steve. And this was the 10th one, and we loved it, so we put in an offer.
One thing I'll never forget is that, you know, Steve had his daughter's bridal shower, and he was getting phone calls and, you know, hey, what do we do here? What do we do here? And he still made plenty of time that day to get us into houses, to look at houses, and to really further our process. And I'll never forget him going out of his way when he had all that family stuff going on to just fit us in.
Yeah, he was very invested in us, and he came out on his birthday with us.
Yep.
And looked at houses.
I would say one of my biggest fears going into the home buying process was the numbers. Steve, as well as, you know, the people at Cross Country Mortgage were great in giving us a real bottom line number, like this is what you're going to be looking at.
Yeah, I'd say a fear of the process was just how overwhelming it sounds to purchase a home. It's a big life step and it's exciting, but it comes with a lot of fears of, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of steps. But yeah, Steve was always around to answer any questions that I had. He would answer every text message that I sent pretty quickly. Even if I was saying, hey, this sounds like a really stupid question, but can you answer this for me? He always had an answer, so.
With Steve, you never felt like you were inconveniencing him. And me, you know, an overthinker, you know, we did have questions along the way, and we never felt like we had to hesitate to reach out and say, hey, this is something we're concerned about. And even if it was a fairly mundane, easy to answer question, it was always met with, you know, a thorough answer and positive reinforcement. So that was great. Something that surprised me was just the attention to detail. As many questions as I may have had and passed about, you know, to try to get answers to, because I was trying to do a lot of this process from varying miles away, from 500 up to 2,500 miles away, depending on where I was working at that current time. It seemed like whenever I had a question that I needed to ask Steve or anybody at the Packer Group, it was met with a thorough answer and maybe a few more answers that were questions I didn't know I had yet.
We would absolutely recommend the Packer Group to, and I already have, I've already recommended the Packer Group to many friends. Kind of felt like we were walking through every house with an inspector, like in the moment, because he was just looking at the foundation, he would look at the pipes, he'd look at the wiring. He was, like he said, just attention to detail was crazy. And sometimes he was very honest and said, I don't know if this is the right house for you guys. And that's not what you get from every realtor.